Hey peeps, Emma here, back with a deep dive into each boss in Valheim. We'll dissect their attack patterns, expose their weaknesses and make you ready to dominate these boss battles. First up we have Eikthyr, your introduction to Valheim's boss fights. Eikthyr is relatively quick, launching attacks like the piercing antler headbutt and devastating lightning strikes. This stag-like creature controls electricity, making it crucial to avoid fighting in water or rain. For all bosses, the weather will change when the fight starts, but unless a fire is nearby, you will still be wet at the start of the fight. Eikthyr executes three main attacks: a rapid antler thrust for close combat, a ground-slamming electrical stomp pushing people back and dealing lightning damage, and a straight beam lightning strike. Whenever Eikthyr raises its front legs, it is best to give it some space. All of his attacks can be parried, and bosses do not receive any additional stagger damage like other creatures do, but it does immobilize them shortly. Next up is the Elder, a towering tree-like entity vulnerable to fire. He has a long spawning animation. This is the opportune moment to deal some damage since he cannot fight back. Use fire arrows or surround him with campfires to exploit his weakness. Watch for his slow movements and prepare to dodge or hide behind indestructible pillars when he points his finger at you, or run out of reach from his roots when he swipes his hand up. This is the first boss that spawns NPCs, but luckily they cannot move, and they will disappear after some time. When they disappear, they can be spawned again in a new location. Fighting them is useless, running from them is the best strategy. In close combat, the Elder can smash you with his foot right in your face. This is a good attack to try and parry, and allows you to put hits in when he is defenseless. You know what else is defenseless? That like button. I would press it if I were you. Prepare for a messy and rainy fight with Bonemass, a blob-like behemoth that thrives in poison and decay. He is resistant or neutral to almost all damage types except for blunt and frost, so your strategy should include maces and if possible frost arrows. Watch for his melee swings, poisonous breath and notorious summoning of his armpit allies, adding waves of summoned skeletons and blobs. Staying mobile when he barfs and being aware of your surroundings will prevent you from being overwhelmed, so it is always good to take care of them as fast as you can. Only when you are up close, he will try to slap you. This is the only parryable attack. Moder, the ice dragon that rains from the skies, dealing frost and piercing damage. She is immune to frost and spirit damage, so it is best to use other attack types. She has a weakness to fire, but progressively you would only have fire arrows or campfires that can make use of this weakness. Her arsenal includes chilling ice projectiles while she flies, and while on the ground she has a frost breath or a painful bite or scratch. Your agility will be key in avoiding her most dangerous assaults, making the Eikthyr power super useful for this fight. Predict her attacks by keeping an eye on her claws and her head posture, and prepare to dodge or shield. You want to steer clear of her ice breath unless you want to turn into an icicle. On to Yagluth, a fiery half-skeleton with a resistance to pierce and fire damage, and also an immunity to poison damage. He is a hefty boss, but he is quite slow. When choosing a weapon, focus on blunt or slashing weapons with frost, lightning or spirit damage. The Frostner is my personal favorite weapon here. Predicting Yagluth's hand movements can save you from a fiery demise. He will either call on a bunch of meteorites to rain down in your direction, or he can smash the ground, creating a ball of blue fire around him and pushing you back. He can also move his head backwards and barf a line of fiery electricity your way. So, you do not want to be wet during this fight. The stone fingers around his spawn area can break, but they are perfectly usable to hide against the barf and meteorites. Do you have a least favorite boss fight, or do you actually like fighting them? Let me know in the comments. Venture into the misty depths to face the Queen. a formidable foe who rules over a secluded and foggy arena. This battle will test your ability to fight under limited visibility and on a multi-layered terrain filled with her eggs. She has 5 attacks and the ability to burrow underground that adds an element of surprise. The Queen is resistant to pierce and immune to spirit damage, requiring you to adapt your arsenal. Equipped blunt or slashing weapons, preferably enhanced with fire, frost, lightning or poison, to maximize your damage output, like the Staff of Embers or the Jotun Bane. The Queen has 2 attacks that spawn creatures. She either spawns them at you in a spitball, or she summons them with a call. If you are at a distance, she can jump at you and force you into a deadly hug. And when up close, stomps, slashes and even poisonous bites are to be expected. You can of course try to parry these. Lastly, Father, known as the Emerald One, is a swift and destructive force, immune to fire and spirit and resistant to pierce damage. The best options against him are blunt, slash, frost, lightning and poison damage. He is also peculiarly vulnerable to the primal weapons, which can root him temporarily, stopping his barrage of attacks. His array of assaults include piercing swings and elemental spikes that chase you across the battlefield. Not much of the original building will remain standing, since he will rain down meteorites similar to Yagluth, so you will need to run from them. In close combat, he will strike and bite you. Right before doing this, you will hear something and you can see his eyes light up. And one of his most devastating attacks will engulf you in a green flame that spawns powerful spikes. These deal a lot of damage, they destroy your armor and they obstruct your vision. So run from these until they stop following you and use them against charred creatures, since yes, the charred do take damage from the fire that Father spawns. Speaking of charred, when Father roars, a light beam can come from his mouth. 6 beams to be precise. This will spawn 6 charred marksmen or swordsmen. The structures around Father's spawn are not safe to use against the spikes or meteorites, so be careful. And parrying Father is possible when in close combat against his bites and scratches. Remember peeps, practice makes perfect. Raise your skills and prepare what you deem needed. Want to make sure that you know all the latest base defense strategies? Check out this video and thank you for watching. Dag hé!